Hi all, I just wanted to do a basic tutorial on the 35mm film camera so that you can see some of the basic components that are in here for being able to work with the camera. So older film camera is very much like our digital camera. It does have shutter speeds, it does have f-stops for being able to adjust the exposure. It has a light meter built in to tell you when you've got correct exposure as well. On the camera itself, if you look at a really basic one, this one is the Canon AE1, which is a very popular camera during the 1980s and 90s for being able to take photographs with film. You'll notice on the top here it has on one side it will have the shutter speeds where you can choose what shutter speed that you want to use from, in this case, from 2 seconds all the way up to 1/1000th of a second on it here. On that same dial, it has a place where you can be able to push and change the ISO of the film that you're using, because different films are going to have different ISOs. So you would choose and set that as well. Right next to it here is another button. That's actually the shutter release. You can hear the shutter firing with it as well there. The next thing is the handle for being able to advance the film in the camera. So when you take the picture, you would crank it once to be able to have it advance the film to the next frame on it there. On the right hand or on the left hand side over here is the knob for being able to open the back up and also for being able to rewind the film back into the canister itself. So on here you'll see there's a little bitty handle that when you flip it out you can be able to use it as a crank for winding the film back into it. Also when you lift up, it will open the back of the camera so that you can be able to place the film into it for loading, getting ready to shoot. Okay, so we have that. It does have a hot shoe on top, viewfinder on the back for being able to adjust your cropping when you're shooting. On the lens itself is where the apertures are located for the camera. So the apertures are mounted on the lens itself, and you can choose which f-stop that you want to use to get the correct exposure overall. This is a manual focus lens, so you would use the outside ring here to turn for being able to choose your focus. This is a zoom lens, so it has an additional ring in the middle here, so you can go from 28 millimeters on out to 70 millimeters for a zoom lens. So really basic on the construction of the camera itself. For actually taking the photos, we would hold it very much like we might for our DSLR. You're looking through the viewfinder here, you're setting your focus. As you're looking through the viewfinder on the right hand side, you will see a needle and a listing of f-stops that are in there. So you choose your shutter speed first. You hold the camera up, partially press the button down. The needle will point to the f-stop that you need to set the camera to. You set it to that f-stop, and then you're ready to go for being able to take your photos from there. So checking your focus, and then click, and there's your photo. Really basics. There are other features on these cameras as well. It does have a self timer on the top here that you can turn to use a self timer with it. It has a battery check button here to let us know if the battery is still good. It also has on the side here where you can press so that you can preview the depth of field with the lens stopped down to check to see how much is actually in focus for the photo itself. On these cameras as well, the lenses are interchangeable. We press, and in this case it's got a locking ring where the lens will go onto it here. Put it back in place and turn that locking ring to get it all set to go. Line up the red dot on the side of the lens, and it goes right in with it like that. And that's it. Very basics for this particular camera, Canon AE1, which matches up to pretty much any of the cameras from the 1960s through the 1990s before they began to switch over to more of the electronic automatic advanced cameras. See you later.